All right, and we are live. It's always such an interesting way to do a book launch these days. But we're glad we're at least able to connect everybody this way. And I see a couple of people already coming in, so I'm just going to give a minute before we get started with our authors. I am Amber from One More Page Books, coming to you from my basement, not from the store. So we're working on the store. We're doing some painting and a little bit of remodeling and lots of moving furniture around and things, hoping that at some point we're going to be able to open up the sales floor again. So be able to at least see people, even if we still can't hold crowds in the store. So it'll at least be fun to be able to see people's eyes again. But glad we're able to see full faces on the screens tonight. See lots of people tuning in. All right. I'm just going to do a quick housekeeping just to make sure everybody knows how this works. I'm going to then introduce the authors, and then I'm going to step out and enjoy the conversation with everybody else. We are both on Facebook and YouTube. You're welcome to ask questions from both of those places or send in comments. On Facebook, you just do it in the Facebook comments. If you're on YouTube, there should be a live chat area, and that's the best place to put in questions and comments on YouTube. So hopefully you will do that. We want to hear from everybody tonight. And I will probably drop in a couple of links in the comments during the program tonight as well. So let's get to it. We are here to help celebrate the launch of Tif Marcelo's new novel. Tif is a store favorite for sure, and we can't wait to be able to have you back in the store again. We'll get to see you from outside and inside tomorrow when you come to sign. So anybody tuning in tonight who has not already ordered your copy, if you would like a signed copy and would you like it personalized, you can order that tonight. We're going to cut off the personalization first thing in the morning so that we have everything prepared. And then whatever else we have signed will be available later. So Tif is a veteran Army nurse, which has a lot to do with this book, I guess, too. Holds a BS in nursing and a master's in public administration. She believes and writes about the strength of families, the endurance of friendship, heartfelt romances, and is inspired by her own military hero husband and 4 children. She's also the author of several books, including Once Upon a Sunset and The Key to Happily Ever After. And joining Tif tonight to celebrate the release of the new one, which is in a book club far away, are 2 of her friends and fellow authors, Victoria Schade and Sarah Smith. Victoria, who also has a new book out, last week had her release, called Lost, Found, and Forever. Is a dog trainer and speaker who, I love this. You worked on Animal Planet. That's so cool. I always feel like the Puppy Bowl specials that you got to work on just seemed like such fun chaos. So that is a really fun thing. And then Sarah is the author of Simmer Down and is a copywriter turned author who wants to make the world a lovelier place, one kissing story at a time, which is just a lovely description. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to you guys. I'm going to pop out. I will come back in and help with questions in a little bit, but let's happy to enjoy the discussion.
Hello, everyone.
Yay! Can we say yay for you?
We are on our own. Watch out.
Unchaperoned.
No. What are we going to do now? We have questions, but we wanted to introduce besides our introductions, we wanted to talk about our books, give a little bit of an elevator pitch of what our book is about before we, join into our conversation with the 3 of us. So Sarah, you go first.
Okay, I'll go. So I wrote Simmer Down, which came out this last fall, and it's an enemies to lovers food truck competitor rom-com romance set in Hawaii between Filipino food truck and a British food truck. And you can get it wherever books are sold.
And it's so good.
Yes,
makes you hungry when you're reading it.
Thank you, Tif. And actually, Tif's previous book, North to You, was an inspiration for me when I was writing it, because that was also a foodie romance. And I remember reading that, and that also made me super hungry. I'm like, you know what? I want to write a foodie romance.
Yes.
Yay!
Okay, Victoria.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria Schade. I wrote Lost, Found, and Forever, which just came out on the 30th. Thanks, Ringlight. Nice reflection. And Lost, Found, and Forever is about what happens when one part of a love triangle is a dog. So it's got a rescue dog. It's got on-set antics because the dog gets cast on a Netflix-style TV show. And of course, there's lots of romance and fun.
It's also such a great book.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And In a Book Club Far Away is just released on Tuesday, and it is a friendship story between three Army spouses who met at a book club, became fast friends 10 years ago, and something happened in that book club and in the present time. When one calls for help, the other two come, not knowing that they are each going to be there, and we'll kind of see their drama unfold. And we get to see marriages and relationships over time with that book as well.
So good. Everyone buy it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tif is such a beautiful writer, obviously. So
Okay, we can stop now.
I have pages folded down. I have pages folded down where I'm like, that's good.
We have questions.
Right? Oh, yeah, sorry.
All right. Okay, so because my first question is, because this book is about book clubs, are you guys part of any book clubs, or have been part of book clubs? And what do you think makes a really great book club?
Can you answer it first?
Yes.
I'm curious about your answer.
I've been part of book clubs for like 15 years. They've been a combination of civilian book clubs as well as military affiliated book clubs, and like the posts that we've lived in. And I have loved it. There's different kinds and how deep the conversations are. Like some book clubs are like, all we do is eat while our kids have run around us. Like it's basically a play date with food and pretend reading. And then I've been in a book club where like you were kind of really required to read it, and then the person would come with questions, and you feel the pressure of which was fun, but you feel like, okay, I thrive in situations like that where it's like I know that I have to answer a question, so I'm good. So, but yeah, 15 years of book clubs, and tomorrow I'm meeting with my current book club. We have met virtually like throughout this pandemic, and we are reading the Tuesday Night Murder Club, or is it the Thursday Night Murder Club? Well, it's a bunch of old citizens, senior citizens who are in the senior home who are trying to solve a murder. So it's really funny. It's really good.
That's amazing. That's so impressive.
Yeah. So
I'll just jump in. My answer is going to be really short. Here's my hot take. No, I've never been in a book club, you guys. No, and that's why I had so much FOMO reading this, because I mean, I know what I'm missing, but I don't really know what I'm missing. And I kind of view reading as a solitary sport. So I'm not sure how I would do in a group environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't lame.
No,
that's not. I don't think that's like I've been involved. I'm not currently in a book club, but in the past I have been.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a negative experience, but it was like we read like a lot of I don't know, maybe literary stuff that I did. So it felt like I was in school again, which for me, like that just takes the joy out of anything. You make it feel like an assignment. So that kind of turned me off from, because I was just like, well, I don't want to be part of a book club if I feel like crap.
I definitely think that you have to have like connection.
Yeah.
You know, it's because when you're showing up, you want to, I feel like at book clubs, folks really unload, you know, but it's in the form of talking about a book. So you learn so much about a person during book club. So you have to be able to kind of trust them at the same time. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't feel comfortable in a situation, then it won't make for a good book club.
Right. Because there were times where I felt like I couldn't be honest about my opinion. I'm like, well, I didn't really like this, but if everybody likes it, then I don't, should I even come next time if I don't like the book? And, but yeah, if it's with people I feel like having a book club with people that you're really comfortable with could be really fun because you could just say whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
You loved it or hated it, or maybe you had differing opinions, but that's okay because you had a good discussion about it. Like that could be really fun. So just feeling comfortable and open enough to have a good discussion rather than like, I hated this book. I don't know anyone. You're not liking it. I don't know.
So it sounds like friendship is kind of an important aspect, and obviously we're going to talk about friendships in your book, but I feel like this is my segue about friendship, but as writers, I feel like getting that support from other writers is so important. Like having that kind of, like you're saying, Sarah, like someone that understands what you're going through or where you're coming from. And I think as writers, we all kind of crave that. So what about your friendships with other writers? Like how does it inform your process, or does it, or is it just like, let's bitch together, complain or celebrate? Like Sarah, how is it for you?
Yeah, that's a great, it's been really helpful to have people who are also authors who I've befriended, just because, at least for me, when I first wanted to get into writing and publishing, I didn't know anybody who was a published author. So you just like query, you get an agent, you just navigate all this whole process without really knowing anybody that well. And thankfully I was able to make some really great friends. Like Tif reached out to me on social media, and that's how we became friends. And she was wonderful because I felt like I had all these stupid questions. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What should I? And I could ask her, and she wouldn't judge me. She would just be really honest and supportive. But yeah, I find a lot of, I just really value my author friendships because I feel like, obviously my friends and my loved ones in my real life are wonderful, and I can talk to them about almost anything and they won't judge me or make me feel weird or anything like that. But like, I don't know, you can't really tell, like only another author knows what it's like to like, deadlines, or like, oh, this is horrible feedback, or like, oh, can you believe this person on Instagram tagged me in a horrible review?
Have mercy.
Yeah, I don't know, Victoria, and Tif, do you guys have the same, like, I don't know, feelings about author friendships?
Yeah, they're like my total lifeline. I'm like, they're the first people I go to, like for the good things, and then the times when I really need support. So I have a group of super close friends that we knew each other before we were published, and I think that just knowing each other for so long in this process, like we kind of know each other not just as authors, but like what motivates us and things like that, so I don't have to explain myself like with an essay, like why I'm upset at this one thing.
Yeah,
I can just say, this really sucks. And they're like, it's okay. Yes, it is.
Well, and they get it too, though, as fellow authors. You don't have to say like, well, this happened and this happened. That means that this happened. You just say it and they're like, yep, we get it. We totally get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I have a group of author friends, and it's expanded. This industry can be really tough, but one of the saving graces is how supportive all the other authors are. It's just amazing. Like there's no backstabby competition. It's just like, come on, let's go. Let's help each other. And it's really amazing. And I just feel so fortunate to have people like you guys in my life.
It's just, like you said, though, it does continue to grow, for example, like Victoria and I are part of the same like anthology. Right.
Yep.
And so like these conversations aren't so mega deep, but it's like the reach is so far. And it's like we get to know each other individually. It's so neat. And it was Sarah and I with Maida Malby, and then like Mia Hopkins, we're all Filipino American authors, and we met at the Rip Bodice. Like I didn't even know them.
Yeah.
And, and Sarah and I shared a bed, just one bed, like, at the hotel.
Yeah, it was a hotel. It was a weird sleeping situation. It was totally fine.
I love it.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even know them, but we all shared, she and me and Maida Malvi, we all shared a hotel room. And that first night, and we hadn't even met at all, but we were there for a common thing, just like the anthology, we're there for a common thing. And we're just like, all right, let's go. Let's do this together.
Yeah, and honestly, Tiff, like I remember thinking, because like there are people who I know in person who I wouldn't want to share a hotel room with, I met them in person, and I felt more comfortable sharing a hotel room with you guys because we had communicated so much online and through email, and it felt like it. I mean, I know that people are like, oh, how can you be friends with someone who you don't see normally? But like, I think you totally can, because you just have that kinship as authors, as people going through the same business, trying to establish yourself and get your books out into the world. You just like have a connection, I feel like. Especially.
What's funny is that during that trip, Victoria, like I'm very type A, right? So it was really coming out. Like I could feel it, right? And I was just like, oh God. And I was just like, calm down, because I'm a mom, like, herding her sheep. Like I'm like one of those German shepherds, just anyway.
No,
I get to know people, I guess is what I'm saying,
Right.
So.
Yeah. But I thought it was great. I appreciated that. I had no idea what I was doing because that was like my first book, Faker. And you were like, yeah, we'll just do this. I'm like, yeah, thanks for letting me tag along.
It was fun. It was super fun. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So on the topic of friendships, I thought it would be interesting to ask too about like writing friendships. Since that's such a big theme in a book called Far Away, do you guys, I guess, do you base the friendships that you write on your own real life experiences, or do you kind of like, I don't know, think more wishfully about it on like, do you write the friendships that you wish you had, or I guess what is your guys' experience with that?
You first, Tiff.
So with this book, the characters came first. So there had to be something conflicting between the personalities and then the things that get along, those personalities. So I think for this one, the characters came first. And then from there, I figured out, okay, what kind of friendship are they going to have? And I really just tried to make it as realistic as possible, that like, there's so many ways that you can love somebody, but then there's so many ways that things will kind of annoy you as well. Because not everybody is perfect, right? So, but then ultimately for the time that they're together, they accept each other in all the ways. So even if they know that there's a little bit of, strife in there, it's okay. Like, okay, we're here, we're doing this thing. So I accept you for the good and the bad. So, but I love friendships. Even when I was writing my romances, I love friendships because I think that the way a person treats their friends kind of gives a little bit of insight of how they're going to be with a loved one, with their love interest. So if they're really not great with their friends, it makes me wonder, like, okay, how are you going to treat this love interest once the shine has worn off? So it makes the happily ever after more real for me if I feel like that person has been nice or real to their friends,
That's such a great parallel. I've never even thought about that, but it makes so much sense. It's like the old dating adage, like how the person treats the wait staff is an indication of how they are. And I never made that connection that how someone treats their friends is a prediction of how they'll be with their partner. I love that. Oh, so good.
And I think it happens with pets too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I really think so. Like the book that I'm writing now, like I have a new romance series coming out. And like my heroine has a cat, and she's so enamored with, this is her ride or die. But she keeps telling her love interest that, no, I'm not attached. But that's not true, right? Because she's attached to this being that is just as important. So I don't know. I think it says a lot. What do you think, Sarah?
Yeah, I completely agree. I love that those are indications of the character of a person or of the character that you're writing. Because I do love that. I don't know if you want to call it a trope, but maybe it's just a trait that a character has, like, oh no, I'm a loner. I want to deal with people and I'm not good enough for this or whatever. But like, they're so sweet to like their pets, or like they take care of their grandma or something really, really sweet where you're like, you just need to meet the right person, or maybe maybe the character's been burned, so they're a little bit hardened because of that. But then like in the story, typically they find a friendship or a relationship, and then you get to see them like blossom and be good to themselves and to the relationships that they're in. Yeah, I know. I also wanted to say to Victoria, when I read your book, Who Rescued Who, I loved how the main character, when she went to England, she made all those friends. Like, she wasn't like really interested in making a bunch of friends, but she came away with a lot of like crazy character friends, and I thought that was the best. I loved that friendship journey she went on too.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like friendships are so important in stories. And just to get back to the original question, writing friendships, how do we write friendships? I feel like there is a lot based on real life, like my friendships, how invaluable they are, how they support me. And yeah, it's not like I'm distilling those friendships and putting them in the book, but they definitely inspire the friendships that I write about. And it's a huge theme in my books as well. I love it. And that's part of the reason why I loved your book so much. I mean, it's such a beautiful depiction and realistic depiction of long-term friendship, because there's an ebb and flow, right? It's not like we're besties forever.
Yeah.
There's trauma and drama occasionally.
And I also feel like sometimes, with friendships, like there's that, when you're talking about a romance, sometimes that character, that protagonist, doesn't learn from that other protagonist. And they get their hints from other people who love them. So I feel like if the friendships are strong, sometimes that's where you get your good information, from your, that's where you get the guidance from your friends to make decisions, for the overall arc of the book, but yeah. So we talked about pets a little bit, but we all have pets in our books. So I wanted to start with Victoria first, right? Because Victoria, Animal Planet, right? Puppy Bowl. So, well, Sarah and I, our pets are a little bit smaller stage, but I'm curious. So how is it like working with pets with animals primarily versus humans? Like, do you like animals more do you feel like, you know what I mean?
Is this being recorded?
I know. No, but it's, I'm sure you're getting a lot of real life truths from animals, right? Because instinctually, right? All the stuff that you're learning from them and all that. Anyway, take it away.
The animals definitely, obviously in my book, the dog's on the cover, front and center. So the dogs inform the story for sure. But there are, and I think this is true of all of us, there are lessons to be learned as the book progresses, like we said, the way that people treat the animal, the way the animal behaves. I mean, training is a huge part of my books, not like in a heavy-handed, like, now we're going to teach your dog how to sit, but it's woven through the books to help illuminate the story, I guess. And I'm curious how you guys pick your animals, number one, whether it's going to be a cat or a dog. Like, do you have to ponder it, or is it just like, yes, I know exactly what animals are the co-stars in these books?
Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, I have a cat as a pet. So for me, it's the most logical thing for me, or the easiest thing for me, is just, so like in Simmer Down, there's a pet cat that the main characters kind of share custody over while they're engaged in their friends with benefits situation. And I just kind of, I don't know, drew from real life, like, okay, what does a cat normally do? And I think it's fun too to use that, to use like a cute animal to bring people together, because I think that happens in stories, but it also happens in real life too. Dogs are great. It's just our cat, who is very old, like hates all other animals, so we can only have him now. But sometimes we get like a dog. But I haven't yet written a dog because I don't have one, and I don't want to like I know what it's like to be a crazy cat lady because I'm a crazy cat lady, so I'll do that for the time being. But Tiff, you have like 2 adorable dogs, Marshmallow and
Graham.
Great, like that's so cute.
So cute.
Everybody keeps saying that we should have a 3rd dog, right? Marshmallow, Graham. What are we missing?
Cocoa? Chocolate?
Or Hershey?
Hershey.
Oh, yeah. Hershey's good.
And I'm like,
you're like, no.
No room at the end for a 3rd dog.
And I have a 2nd kiddo leaving for college, and I'm still like, no. But I would consider I have allergies, so my dogs don't really shed too much. They're Havanese, so I can have them. But I remember having when our boxer, rest in peace, I had sinus infections like every season. I think it was too bad. But we can't have cats, but I write a lot of cats in my book. So in a book club far away, I have Shadow, and Shadow is Regina's cat, and Regina's lonely. And her cat is her buddy. And so, but I'm the same way with my dogs, who they think they're cats because of the way they perch themselves on couches and look out the window on the windowsill. But I talk to my dogs, and I feel like they're answering me back in their own expression. So, the cats always are always like whipping their tail, either objecting to something or completely agreeing,
Oh, I love it. So I kind of showed my hand with one of my answers about things that I weave into the story that I hope people take away, like almost like lessons. I mean, it is lessons, it's dog training, but do you guys have similar lessons? Like Tif, I'm thinking not like heavy-handed, you're going to learn this, but just little things that you weave into the book. And I'm wondering, Tif, if it's the whole milspouse thing, like teaching people about that lifestyle.
Yeah. My primary thing was just to show the friendships and the strong friendship of military spouses. I think a lot of the times when, who is spotlighted, usually it's the active duty folks, folks who are in the military. And a lot of the time, first of all, the light is not shown towards military families and military spouses. And if they are, they might not be really capturing the joy of what it is to become what it is to be a military spouse. There's always studies on the PTSD that we have to deal with, for example, or the stress of moving and the anxiety and all this stuff. But there also there's a lot of joy, and there's a lot of friendships that occur in the 23 years that we've been in. I've been so blessed to have so many friends, and in different capacities, folks that but at the same time, I can call any of them and call an SOS, and they would not think twice.
That's real, by the way. I wanted to ask, the SOS thing is real.
Do you guys remember when text messages just started and SOS was like a thing? Do you guys remember that at all? It's 2000 and probably 8 or 9, when I still had my iPhone 2 or 3 or whatever it was. But it was we would say SOS, call me back right now. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to elevate that to, I need your help right now. So, but that's happened to me where I had wasps in my house, and I was scared, and I was in a 4-person apartment, and I literally went down the stairs, knocked on my door, and that other military spouse just came up, grabbed newspapers, rolled it up, and was killed all of it.
That's impressive.
That's amazing.
Without getting stung?
Yeah. Without getting stung, but it's that kind of thing. Or, if my car looks like it's doesn't look like it's in the right place, like they'll be like, is everything okay? Is the car fine? Like, do you need help? There's this thing where we kind of look out for each other and are not afraid to say, are you all right? Let me help you.
So that was a cool lesson. I loved learning about all that because I know nothing. But Sarah, is food in Simmer Down? Was that like teaching people about cultural food?
Yeah. So for Simmer Down, the main character, Nikki, she runs a Filipino food truck with her mom. And I included a lot of recipes that my mom's family cooked and still cook, but food that I grew up with. And that's one of the nicest feedback I've gotten from some people is they've messaged me or DM'd me or text messaged me without an SOS, obviously, because it's not funny, but telling me like, oh, that sounds so good. I'm going to try this Filipino restaurant. I usually drive by it, but I'm going to try it this time, or a couple of people have like cooked recipes that I included in there, and that was really special. And I just like food is just such a food is amazing because it's delicious and it keeps you alive and all that stuff. But it's also like a big community family element for me because growing up, that's how like my family, my mom showed that she loved me and my siblings, and everybody is just cooking ungodly amounts of food and making you sit down and eat it. And even if you weren't hungry, like it doesn't matter, you're going to sit down, you're going to eat. And yeah, it's that, love, showing of love or expression of love. And it's really just really special. And Tif, I feel like I get that vibe from your books too. There's always that element of like, I'm going to show you how much I love you because I'm going to do things for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting that the whole love language is, I actually use that. I know this is a seg, but whenever, like, what do you guys use to write your characters? Just as a quick, like I kind of use love languages. And I also use the Enneagram as well, to kind of create characters and their motivations. Do you guys do any of that at all?
I'm very impressed with you. No, but that's a great idea. I might steal it. I really I have a list of questions I go through. Pictures are really important to me, like casting actual living beings as my people. But yeah, that's a great idea.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Tif, you definitely probably take it a step further than I do, which is good because that means you have well-rounded, real characters who feel like actual people. I feel like I just think of qualities like, oh, it'd be nice if this person existed in real life. Let's write him in a book or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll, Victoria, this is maybe kind of along the same lines. My way is probably creepier. I'll think of a celebrity that I want to like model the character off of, and then I'll watch like YouTube videos or I'll go to their Instagram and like watch how they like do interviews or little like oh, they touch their hair every time, or like they look at the ground when they're like nervous or something.
Wow.
That doesn't sound like I'm a serial killer, honestly. That doesn't.
So who would you fan cast then for Simmer Down?
Oh, okay. Good question. I would fan cast Shay Mitchell. I don't know if you guys watched like Pretty Little Liars back in the day. I think she's Filipino Canadian. Yeah. I think she would make a really good Nikki. And then for Callum, I don't know. Did anyone else watch Falling in Love on Netflix like 2 years ago?
Yes.
Blonde Australian guy who looks like a Viking. I think he'd make a good Callum. Yeah. Who would you fan cast, Tif?
So for the three ladies, so for Regina, she's the soldier. She's Filipino American, and I would say Vanessa Manillo. I'm casting them. You know how there's two timelines, so I'm casting them now. So they're in their late 30s in 40s. And then for Adelaide, she's our Southern Belle. And I'm thinking Amy Adams, right? She's got that red hair. And then for Sophie, it's Gabrielle Union.
Oh, I love Gabrielle Union.
Gabrielle, are you out there? Are you listening to this?
That's a good looking trio.
I know.
It's great when you have the power to cast. How about you, Victoria?
So I don't do celebrities necessarily. My little secret is I go to like unique model management companies. Like I'll say like unique French models. And then I'll get like a casting agency out of France and just go through, find people I like, and then I'll stalk them on their Instagrams, and I end up
writing this down.
Following them all. Yeah, so there are lots of models in my stories. So this one, it's for Lost, Found, and Forever. It's a female model. Actually, tomorrow on my Instagram page, I'm posting pictures like this is who everyone is. This is exactly who I envision. So it's a male model, female model. And then Michelle Visage is one of the friends. I don't know if anyone watch RuPaul's Drag Race. She's, very dramatic, and everything about her is bam. And that's Ruth. And then Malcolm is the American Humane rep, or like American Humane type of business. And did anyone watch Dexter? Remember Dexter? One of the other cops, the black bald guy who was like super built. That's Malcolm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This is amazing fan casting. I love all of it.
I know. Who knew that I wrote that down. I put unique models on my list.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Thank you. And there's so much out there. Like once you have a name to plug in, you can find out a creepy amount of information.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I'm going to pop in for 1 second. I'm going to say the Enneagram thing. I love it. And I will do that with authors when I'm reading it. I'll be like, oh, that's a total 4.
Yeah. Can you tell I'm a 3? Can you tell that I'm a 3?
I'm a 1.
You're a 1.
Yeah.
I can see that. So the Enneagram is so deep. It's like, and you're not trying to change. What about the Enneagram is just knowing where you're coming from. And just how to, live a better life.
How to not be the worst version of yourself.
Yeah, and not be the worst version. Like try to be the better version of yourself. But yeah, Enneagram is really interesting.
So we do have one question that popped up, and if anybody else has questions out there, please feel free to and somebody else has another question, I think. So I'm just going to pop up the first one here if you guys are ready for some questions.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And I can put it there on the screen. Kristen is asking for all of you, if you could pick 3 fictional characters to be in a book group with you, who would they be?
Oh my God.
I know.
Good question.
I would say for one, Jennifer Gardner. I say I want her around me all the time because she's so energetic, but at the same time, I feel like she's real, whatever she's showing on Instagram. And she makes a great, fake cook, the whole fake cooking thing. So I would totally invite her.
Okay. Mine are weird. I'll just throw them out there.
Please.
Jane Austen, because duh. Benjamin Franklin, because I'm fascinated by him.
Oh, really?
He is just incredible. There's a Benjamin Franklin Museum in Philadelphia that it was just everything. And who is my? Oh my gosh, I just forgot my third. It was someone good too. Oh, Reese Witherspoon.
Oh yeah,
because she's got her finger on the pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are all really good. I don't know. That's such a good question. Oh man. You know who would be good or fun to have a book club with? Tif. Drew from North to You.
Oh, geez.
I want to read a romance book with him. I think that'd be fun.
He's so sweet.
He is. Yeah, he's just like he's cute and very attractive because he fixes himself. But I also think that he's like funny and lovable, and he would read a steamy book and have something to say about it.
And I actually think that Sarah actually answered the question correctly because Amber asked for fictional characters. And I answered with like a real life character. And Victoria, I think you just followed what I did. So good job, Sarah. You won. Oh my gosh.
I couldn't think of a real life person. I'm like, Drew would be fun. I don't know.
Fictional character.
Oh, there's so many. Like,
well, of course. Well, then if we're gonna go down like I would say Joe March would be a great person to have. Mm-hmm. But then I also think that Marmee March would be really interesting because she's just, I feel like I'm more her age than Joe. Like, I really want to know what's in her head, you know?
Look, we had someone commented on whose theirs would be. Well, two of them anyway.
Professor McGonagall.
That would be good.
That's super good. James Bond. He would provide the drinks, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Wait, does he make his own drinks?
I don't know. He orders people how to make his martinis. I don't know if I've ever seen him physically prepare a drink for himself. That's a good.
True.
Yeah. This is like maybe not the most serious answer, but if anybody watched like Arrested Development, I think Lucille Bluth would be hilarious. She would just, she loved it or hated it, she would let you know, and she'd be mainlining vodka the whole time. It'd be so funny. That would be amusing to me, I think.
Did you hear she passed last week?
Yeah. I liked her.
Yeah, she was amazing.
And Downton Abbey, the grandma. Oh, I forgot her name.
Yeah, who?
Dowager.
The Dowager.
Something.
Yeah. She's silly. And mean at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, so this one is a long comment, but I like the whole thing. I think it'll all fit there. So a question about the models. Do you have to get rights to release who they would be? I like this. She said, either way, the fact that you use social media to look people up is fun. And imagine finding out that there's a book character named after you. So that's why she'd like to be a model now.
Yeah. Well, I will tag the models that I use. I will tag them in posts, and I'm just waiting for the day. I mean, they're pretty famous, like in their modeling world, and I'm waiting for the day where they're like, okay, let's get the movie made. I want to be in it.
That would be so cool. I like that you tag them, Victoria.
Oh yeah, I do.
And that's what they want. They want you to tag them. And maybe a book cover even. I mean, because honestly, we're always looking for good book cover models. You know, for like the traditional romance covers. That would be neat.
That's a great idea. Let's set up a casting for this, shall we?
We are the judges.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Well,
sir, take your shirt off.
Yeah. We'll all be there offering our professional input.
Yes.
So we don't have any other questions coming in right now. So I know you guys had a couple other questions for each other, and I will keep an eye on. And if there are other questions, please pop them in, and I will pop back in and relay them.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is Tif specific.
Oh.
Okay, so in your three friends, now we have a visualization of how you envision them. I'm thinking, I think we all put little tiny bits of ourselves, just little bits in our characters. So what bit of you is in each of your main characters?
Yeah. So
Sophie is nurse, right?
Yeah. Sophie's a nurse. And so I wanted to put her in there, and like the fact that she couldn't get a job, even though it's supposed to be like one of the best professions out there. It's really hard to, when you move to a new state, to have to change your licensure. It takes time. for life to change, right? A little bit of Regina because my husband and I were both active duty for about 4 years together. And that was a tough time. And it wasn't as tough as Regina and her husband because they had their whole host of issues. But there is that kind of push and pull of or pull and pull of where they want to go next and what your goals are. And then with Adelaide, I really think the whole perfectionism, I think, is something that I could probably speak to, just trying to do the right thing more than anything else. Like she just wants to be able to do the right thing. But sometimes that stresses her out, So, but those are the three things. I love these ladies. I have to say, and I say at every event that none of these ladies resemble or are written to depict any one of my friends that I have met over 23 years. When I created each character, I really looked at them carefully and I'm like, do I know anybody that is just like her? And I wanted to make sure that there wasn't any similarities at all. Just that. So don't look for yourself in the book, please.
I'm not trying to say that you reminded me of Adelaide when I was reading the book, but I did get because of how warm-hearted and
you're so sweet.
It gave me oh my god, that's those total Tif vibes, and not to give anything away, but there's an incident, a thing that happens to drive a wedge between this friendship between these three people. And I don't want to give it away because you guys should go get the book and read it because it's great. But her trying to bring Adelaide trying to bring her friends together was a really thing that a very kind-hearted person would do, or at least in my opinion. And I got kind-hearted vibes.
Oh,
yeah.
Adelaide just is trying. She's just trying and she doesn't know and I think that's what happens a lot in military spouse life. You're so focused on just the next thing, right? The next event or the next move or the next deployment, the next reunion, that sometimes you lose yourself in the process. And so it just took her a little bit of time to kind of say, okay, what do I want? And I think that a lot of the times when you get to a point in your life too, when whatever you're doing right now, at some point you kind of hit this resistance, okay, let me evaluate what I'm doing right now. Is it, is this where I really want to go or not? So she's really at that point in the present time. And, it affects her marriage. And I think I really wanted to show that too, the marriages, that it changes,
Yeah, I liked that part of the book too because, like Victoria, I'm not in the military, and I'm not my husband's not. I'm not close. I don't have anyone close to me who is. So it was really eye-opening to see a lot, how certain aspects of the characters' relationships unfold throughout the years. Because, I mean, we all assume oh, it would be really easy or it would be really hard to do this or to go through something, but you don't know until you go through that. So I thought it was really, I feel I not learned a lot, but it was, it gave insight to to a situation that I didn't have any personal experience.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Thank you.
And I had a question about that too. Are you aware of how much we don't know? Do you have someone saying please explain that? Because I don't know what that means. Do you have it's not a sensitivity reader, but it's a military reader. Let's translate this for the average dummy.
I think it's because I also lived so much of my time in the DC area. So the DC area is when you're on an army post, it's all inclusive. Everybody knows what's going on and whatnot. And then when you're in I live 10 miles or 15 miles away from Washington, DC, no one really cares. And so I think because I 3 times we've moved here to the DC area where neighbors, yes, there are military people around, but we don't assume who's in the military. We kind of in the environment. So I feel I've lived so much of my life without it that that when it came down to writing it, I automatically just kind of translated things along the way. So, but I had military spouse readers for this book just because I wanted to get it right, and I didn't want to overstep or like do a stereotype, So
what is a stereotype? I don't even know
I don't even know. See, that's the thing. Like what I know might be different, like my point of view is not everybody's point of view. So I got 3 military spouses together and I gave it to them. And I'm like, just tell me if there is anything that you find problematic, because I can only write to my experience. But if there's a problem in there, then I definitely want to know before I publish it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. I have a not as thoughtful question to ask you. What alcoholic beverage would you pair with your book if you had to choose something?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
fact,
okay, great. Yeah. Okay.
I've seen her drinking water.
Oh yeah. I love that. Is that the
I've never had that.
Oh my God, that's so good.
So
is that the Moscato or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is like what I call the blue bottle, right? So I don't read labels. I just go like, where is this blue bottle? Let me get it. So like whenever I had book club, like I would always have a blue bottle or a couple of blue bottles, or bring a blue bottle if it's a book club where we're bringing alcohol, because it's just my favorite to drink. So that is the perfect. Yeah, and coffee.
Oh,
of
yeah,
course.
coffee's great.
Yeah. How about you? How about you guys?
Yeah, Victoria, I want to know what drink you would pair with your book. I'm curious.
For Lost, Found, and Forever, this is a little bit of a stretch, but I'm thinking hard cider.
Yeah.
Because there's a storyline, that little tiny one that has to do with apples. And how a certain character feels about cooked fruit, which was based on my sister, and I told her that. There are people out there that don't like cooked fruit. They don't like pies. How crazy are they? But anyway, yes. So hard cider because of the little apple plot line. What about you, Sarah?
I love that. I feel like hard cider doesn't get represented as often as like other alcohol. So that's good. Hard cider representation. I can appreciate that. For Simmer Down, because it's like a tropical setting and it's a romance, I would go with something like Sex on the Beach or something like that.
Ooh.
I mean, that's probably a little bit too over the top and cheesy, but that's literally what it is. So
this is true. And Sarah, for your next book, let's talk about your next book, because we talk about a beach in Simmer Down, but in your next book, On Location, it's in a totally different place.
Yes. So On Location, which comes out in the fall, I'm going to be announcing release dates and cover reveal soon on social media if anyone is interested. But yeah, On Location is a romance set in Utah in the desert, and it's between two crew members who are on the same outdoor television show, and they're shooting a series about the national parks, and the host is this ridiculous diva douchebag who they have to constantly corral. So they are, and they also, the two main characters, they have a really interesting and awkward meet cute, but they're very attracted to each other, and they constantly have to deal with that while they're trying to save their show. So yeah, Utah, it's like a little mini vacation to Utah if you ever wondered what Utah was like.
It's a wonderful
book.
Wait.
Cannot wait. And I can't wait to see the cover. Your covers.
I love your covers.
Yeah, I'm so lucky. The artist who does them, she's incredible, because I'm the least helpful. And I don't know, you guys, they ask you like, oh, what do you want your cover to look like? I'm like, I don't know. These weird things. And because I'm not an artistic person, I have no idea how to articulate other than like, please just make it look good. And and she does it every time. Her name's Vicky Chu, and she's amazing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they are beautiful.
So we have, oh, here comes Amber.
I was just gonna say someone else chimed in with drinks to go with all the books.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We know you.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I love that. So Chardonnay for Tif's book.
Yeah, that's pretty on it.
Oh my gosh.
Appletini.
That's a great one.
Yeah, and mojito for my. I love that. Those are great.
Perfect matching.
That's
Yeah.
always
Making me
fun.
thirsty.
Yeah.
No.
I'm drinking water. I will let it be known.
Yeah, I'm drinking water, but I'm gonna, after we get off of this, I'm gonna start pounding whatever alcohol I have. Now I'm having craving.
Oh my gosh, you know what I bought today, or what arrived from Amazon today? So I was in another event like 2 days ago, and Allison Hammer showed her most interesting thing or whatever, and it was one of those gallon water jugs where it says like 7 a.m., like 9 a.m. So I bought one of those, and it came in the mail, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a lot of water. I mean, it's just it is like for real, like this big. That's how much we're supposed to drink?
That was Tall Poppy, wasn't it?
Yes.
I can tell by the interesting thing assignment. I love that.
Yeah. And I'm like, is that really how much we're supposed to drink?
Yeah, isn't that
I'm
crazy?
trouble.
You're like, oh, this isn't gonna like drown my body organs. This seems like too much. But I guess we do need that much water.
It's
Seems
teal
like
and pink, so hopefully that will help.
I just think it seems like you would just spend all day going to the bathroom. Like I don't know how you get anything else done, but
Does coffee count?
I'm gonna let everybody go so they can get the beverage of their choice. That's the evening. So thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. I'm so glad everybody got to tune in. Yes, make sure you get this book, Sarah's book, Victoria's book, and the links for all of them are in the comments, so it should be easy for everybody to find. And we're so glad we were able to do this tonight. We appreciate all of you tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for hosting. Thanks for coming.